This tank is the Rhine Metal Panzerwagen. This is a German Tier 10 light tank, and the map is Zenki. Now, what I'm doing here is I'm shooting across the middle of the map from the south into the north, and I'm not being spotted. And the reason why I'm able to do this is because the enemy has advanced through the buildings, through the structures that are on the northern part of the map, which allows me to take shots at them without being spotted and on their side flank. So I had to switch to the high explosive rounds because I wasn't able to damage the front of that tank. He has no idea where I am. So I was able to do about 300 damage on that tank. That was a lousy shot. That didn't work. But those tanks are right there. They're there to be shot at. Nice. That was 334 damage on that T-100. And 325 damage on the Object 263. My team is starting to advance in the south. They're going to slowly make their way north. So I decided to track him so I could get some assistance damage. I was able to get 195 assistance damage. And he's out of the game. So here's another example where I'm going to try and track that tank to get assistance damage. And also to keep him in place out in the open. I'm up to 1,200 damage and 1,200 spotting damage. And he's almost out of the game. The score is 8-4. So now, oh, that was a nice shot. You might ask, why would you play this position? So should you just rush out to this position and start sniping? Well, what you're going to have to do is you're going to have situational awareness. If you notice that the enemy in the north has advanced through those buildings, then yes, come to this position and play it. But if not, it might not be such an easy position to play. Okay, so let's move on to the next video. This tank is the Fache 155. This is a French Tier 10 tank destroyer, and the map is Sand River. This tank is also an autoloader. It's one of the best tanks in the game. When I played over the years, I've been playing for 5 years, I was always envious of other people who had this tank, and now I finally was able to get one. If you ever have a chance to get one, I highly recommend it. The first thing that I like to do on this map is I head over here to this lower area to see if I can spot some enemy tanks. I'm not reloaded yet, so I won't be able to shoot at them. However, I like to do the spots because I like to get a first shot in when I can. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to head for the town area. It used to be better. There used to be more trees to hide in, but unfortunately the trees were removed and it's a little bit harder to hide. But there's good snipe positions. Oh, he missed. So I was able to get 1,300 damage on that tank and 565 spotting damage on an IS-4, which was to his right. So then what I do is I just reverse over here because there's already in the game, you want to stay close to solid objects, and I'm going to reload, and then I'm going to pull back into that position. Now, this is very interesting because those tanks are going to be really preoccupied with what's going on in the game. For example, the Sheridan is now going after them. You really want to make sure you time it right. Don't go in until you're fully loaded. I can easily take that IS-4 out of the game. He's going to be loaded around the time that I come around the corner, so I want to make sure I time it properly. Looks like he missed a shot on me. He was probably aiming for my the rangefinder on the top of the vehicle, but because I was moving in reverse, he missed. I only fired one of my shots, and because it's a long reload, I'm going to save my shots for the next tank. Okay, so we're getting out of the scope of the sniping position. I'm probably not going to get any more crazy lucky shots from here, but we'll stick around and we'll see what happens. It is a great position, and I do play here often. And I definitely recommend it. Even if you have a heavy tank, you can play this position in light tanks, medium tanks, tank destroyers. You know, I don't recommend it for the SPGs, but for almost any tank you can play in that position. Okay, so let's move on to the next video. This tank is the Fache 155. This is a French Tier 10 tank destroyer, and the map is Red Shire. I'm going to show you a sniping position that you can use on this map. On the east side, there's a battle area for heavy tanks, which is the E0 and F0 areas, and there's two sniping positions, one for the south and one for the north. Actually, for the south, there's actually more sniping positions that have bushes to hide in. And in the north, there's a lot of bushes, but the sniping, the usefulness of the positions is not that great, but you can definitely fit a lot of tanks there. I wanted to help this guy up, but he turned at a weird angle, so I was a little bit unsure about pushing him up. And I think he was able to make it up there anyway. Or maybe he left. Yeah, he's able to make it up there. So one thing you want to do when you pull into a sniping position with trees is you want to knock as many trees down as you can. No matter what direction they're in, they will help you and they will help hide you. We don't know what's going to happen. If the enemy has a strong showing, then I'm going to be in great danger later in the game. The other thing I'm doing is I'm using high explosive rounds. And the reason why is because I know I'm going to see the turrets of their tanks and I'm going to meet up against side scrapers. So I'm going to need to use those high explosive rounds. Oh, nice. Got 523 damage. I'm already up to 1,000 damage. If you want to do a mission that requires doing a lot of damage early in the game, this is the tank to do it with. I'm going to speed up the game. So that shot was unfortunately a miss. I'm going to have a bit of a reload here. While I'm reloading, I'm going to knock some of the trees down. You can see that the enemy has won on the east side. So now I'm in danger. There's a lot of hit points out there. There's like 6,000 hit points I got to deal with. And I can really only do 2,000 hit points with one clip. Missed a shot on that tank, unfortunately. Obviously, as soon as I fire, he's going to know I'm there. The smart thing to do is just to let them all pass. The score is 3-7. Come on. Oh, he's going down into the river, so I won't be able to hit him. That means there's one more tank that's potentially in front of me. Okay, so now we know where all the enemy tanks are right now. Luckily, I hit that tank, but now he's out of my range. I should just advance forward, go forward, get that guy back in range. Now, the smart thing to do now would be to head north. He knows where I'm located, and the score is 4-10. Go north to another sniping position. All those tanks are not going to come after me. So there's a good chance I could kill off one more tank. I'm now using the heat rounds. The heat rounds will surely do damage. Score is 5-11. I've gotten 2,000 damage. It's so slow to reload, but I've got him perfectly in my sight. Oh, he's almost out of the game. Oh! He is so lucky. Scores 6-12. I got 2,700 damage. I'm not going to reload in time to snipe on him. He's going to be right up against me by the time I get reloaded. And he knows exactly where I am. So I got to be ready to fire. And now the score is 7-14. Okay, so this is beyond the scope of sniping positions. Let's move on to the next video. This tank is the Rhine Metal Panzerwagen. This is a German Tier 10 light tank, and the map is steppes. I'm going to show you a sniping position that you can play on this map. You'll notice that there's a lot of bushes over here, and you can easily snipe on tanks. You know, when I play this game, I never play here in the north on the east side because I don't like the brawling type of gameplay. But I see a lot of tanks over here, and now that the game has changed, I've been playing for 5 years, it's nice to see that it's a lot different than it used to be. There's a lot of places here where you can sit and snipe. You can fit a lot of tanks. You could easily fit 4 or 5 tanks sniping against those enemy tanks. And if I had a better gun, I'd actually be able to do damage against them. Got to be very accurate to make that shot. Look at where I am on the mini-map. It's the A8 area. And we'll get an overview of the position here. You can see that there are many positions, and we've got solid cover in the unfortunate event that we do get spotted. And we can get closer to the enemy if we want. We could move a little bit further. In the future, I will try a position that is closer to the enemy. Unfortunately, I haven't done any damage yet. I figured I'd get spotted on that one. Finally got some damage. This tank, the gun is actually pretty good on this tank. I get a lot of nice hits running around chasing after enemy tanks. It's probably better than an average light tank. Okay, so that's the position. I will be showing you more of this in future videos. This tank is the FV215B183. This is a British Tier 10 tank destroyer, and the map is Empire's Border, which is also known as the Great Wall map. Now we're going to go to a sniping position. Because it's a little bit slow, I'm going to speed it up. Speed it up even a little bit more. Knock down some trees. You really want to knock down those trees as quickly as you can. So you can see from this position, we do have some sniping shots on tanks that are up on that midpoint on that hill over the crest of the hill. Let's see if anybody comes over. Doesn't look like anyone's coming over. This slow tanks will need a little bit of time to get to that position, so I'm going to speed it up a little bit. Okay, so I decided to try a new position. Here's another set of bushes over here. Still have a similar view. It's not that much different. What is he pointing at? That was 649 damage on that tank, and plus I spotted him, so I did get the spotting damage also. Oh, we got another customer. It's too bad I wasn't ready for him. I am using high explosive rounds, so all I have to do is hit any part of his tank and I'm going to do damage. Oh, I was unspotted. So there's another ally that showed up, another tank destroyer who's also using this sniping position. And there's an STRV that's nearby. Now the enemy has advanced, and there's around 5 or 6 enemy tanks in that area. So this is actually a pretty good position. Did 674 damage on the Jag Panzer E100. And plus there's a place where I can reload my ammunition without having to worry about getting hit. It might not be already safe. Now we have no spotters in front of us, so we've got a big problem here. I'm going to speed it up a little bit. There's the first customer. Nice. 896 damage, and he's out of the game. So previously, I used to use mostly high explosive rounds, but I switched to the heat. And the reason why is because there's a mission, TD-15, to do 8,000 damage to win an Object 260. Oh, that sucks. Yeah, I forgot that I'm using the AP rounds and not the heat rounds. So that was a poor decision. And that guy was ammo racked. We're actually doing pretty good. A lot of those tanks are just not advancing. We did halt the advance of the enemy team. So hopefully by now I figured out that I have to use the correct rounds. I got 2,219 damage and 206 spotting damage. So the good thing about this position is not only can you snipe, but you can also do some spotting. It looks like we're going to win this game by capping. And that's the game. Let's move on to the next video.